Alright guys, so let's continue reading Mockingbird, and today we're going to dive in starting with chapter 12. This chapter is called Closure, and remember we started talking about this idea of closure in the last read aloud time. This is something that Caitlin looked up in her dictionary because she heard it on the news about finding closure based on the traumatic event that just happened in their community. I wait all morning for my Mrs. Brooke time. I run walk to her room because of no running in the halls, and I push the door open without even knocking, and she asks, and I ask, how do I get to the state of experiencing an emotional conclusion to a difficult life event? She stands up from the round table. What do you mean? Closure, I say. I'm talking about closure. How do I find it? Sit down, Caitlin. Is this, are you talking about the news? The boy from the shooting? I nod about 100 times because I'm a little slow at getting it today. This is a very stressful time for our entire community. We are all looking for closure. I look at the person. She's not answering my question. Come and sit down. I'm still standing. Okay. Okay, says Miss Brooke. I'll sit. So she puts her hand out in front of her on the table and she clasps them together. She takes a deep breath and lets it out. Her eyes close. Is she praying? This isn't church, I remind her. I know, I'm thinking. She scratches the part, in her hair, and then puts her hands together again. Sometimes the process of a funeral and a burial and doing things like putting wreaths on grave sites help give closure. Devin was cremated, so that will not work for me. Some people go to church. It's not Sunday, I point out. I mean, on Sundays, do you and your father go to church? I shrug. We used to go to the one with the Boy Scouts, but not anymore, and now we just drive past it. Church might be helpful. Or seeing a counselor. I look at the person. You're a counselor. I see you. I know, but your dad might like to go see a counselor too. Can he come see you about closure? Sometimes we can do that, but I'm really here to help the students. But talking can help both of you a lot, she says. Talking about your feelings. That will not work for me. I don't like, let's talk about it. Now, Caitlin, is there anything else? Well, if nothing else, Miss Brooke says, time helps. But I didn't ask if there was nothing else. I asked if there was anything else. I start shaking my hands because the world is spinning, and if I shake my hands faster than the rest of the world, then the world spinning doesn't seem so fast. Devin says it makes no sense, but it makes sense to me. It's something that you have to find for yourself because everyone is different. We all have to find our own special way. I thought I was the one who was special and everyone else was normal. And I almost asked her, what do normal people do? But I suppose that would not work for me anyway. That doesn't help. She touches my shaking hand and I pull it away. Something will come to you, Caitlin, she says. There is a solution out there with your name on it. I look around the room for my name. I'm sorry, she says. I didn't mean your name will actually be written on anything, but you'll think of something. I give her a big sigh and I said, fine, I will figure it out myself, but I have no clue how. So we walk together on the playground and Miss Brooke talks about things, but I can't hear her. I'm thinking too hard about closure. When the bell rings, I stand there sucking my sleeve until I remember I have a maybe friend that I should go and find named Michael. He's on the jungle gym, but comes over to me when I do our wave. Hi, Caitlin. Do you know how to get to the state of experiencing an emotional conclusion to a difficult life event? Huh? Closure. Do you know how to get there? No, but I'll ask my dad. He's good at finding stuff. Really? My dad isn't. Is your dad extra smart or something? He shrugs. I don't know. He seems extra happy. You're lucky. My dad is sad all the time. Michael shakes his head. I don't feel lucky. I feel bad because I'm not happy all the time like he is, like I'm supposed to be. He always wants to do something, like throw a football or play frisbee or go bowling, and sometimes I just don't want to do that stuff because I'm sad. Maybe my dad and your dad should get together and become normal. Maybe. So will you ask him? Ask him what? About closure. That's a hard word. It's like closing, only closure. Okay, I'll ask him. Thank you, I smile. That's my manners. And that reminds me, here are your stickers. They're of planets. Some of them glow in the dark. He looks at the stickers. Whoa, I love these. Thank you, Caitlin. You're welcome. When Dad drives me home from school, I look at the sign in front of the church we used to go to. It says, "Our hearts are still with the families of Julian, Devin, and Roberta. Except our hearts couldn't do anything to save Devin's heart, and maybe that's why Dad drives past. I need to figure out closure." Chapter 13 is To Kill a Mockingbird, entitled To Kill a Mockingbird. That is a very impressive and powerful and popular book written by Harper Lee. I'm standing in front of Devin's door, and whenever I don't know what to do, I go to Devin's room normally and ask him. I really want to know about closure, and I don't know who else to ask, except Devin is not here, but his room is. I haven't been inside since Dad slammed the door on the day our lives fell apart, and I know that that means that Dad doesn't want me to go in, but I don't know why. Even though the door doesn't have its name on it, I want to be with Devin. Even though the door doesn't have my name on it, I want to be with Devin. I need to be with Devin. I know that Devin would open his door for me. So I put my hand on the doorknob. It's cool and it's strong, and I hold it for a while like I'm holding Devin's hand, like I did when I followed him into his room and he let me draw for a while he did his homework, as long as I didn't talk or hum or make weird noises with my mouth. I close my eyes and promise the door that I will not talk or hum or make weird noises with my mouth. After a cracking sound, the door opens. I turn the knob more. When I push my head into the soft blue blur of his room, I can smell him, feel him, and I smile. It's like pure Devin in here. I go all the way in and I quietly shut the door behind me, and there's a beanbag chair where Devin always sits, and the books on the floor that Dad threw there, and the bed, which was never made because Devin hates making his bed, and the shelf with all of his trophies and baseballs and basketballs and Boy Scout trophies. I look around the walls that are full of pictures. He still has stuff taped up that I did in preschool, and I don't know why. They're really bad. I could do so much better now. The bird I drew when I was 4 hardly even looks like a bird, but now I can draw a bird that looks real. Last year, Dad entered the eagle I drew in a grown-up art show, and it won first prize. Dad and Devin were so happy, I was sure they got confused and thought that they'd drawn the bird themselves, but they didn't, because Devin said, "You may be the best artist in Virginia," and Dad said so too. Devin even said that by the time I'm an adult, I might be the best artist in the country, and I remember where he was sitting right when he said it, right there in the blue beanbag chair in the plastic cover that feels weird and makes fart noises when you slide into it. It's Devin's favorite place to sit, but not mine. I turn around and I see it, my hidey hole. It's the best place in the world. If there's a thunderstorm or fireworks or a lot of sirens, Devin lets me sit in the hidey hole in the corner between the foot of his bed and his dresser. He even used his Boy Scout knife to carve my name underneath his dresser where Dad can't see it and get mad because you're not supposed to use stickers on furniture, and Devin says it's pretty safe to bet that no stickers on furniture rule applies to the no knives on furniture rule also. So I decide to get into my hidey hole, and I slide all the way underneath the dresser, and I look up at my name and I feel it. It's not my real name, it's Devin's name for me, which is Scout. It's from To Kill a Mockingbird because he loves that movie. It has 2 kids in it, Jem and Scout. They are brother and sister, and there is a father too, and a lady I used to think was their mother who was always in the kitchen, except she leaves every night to go take care of her other children, so I thought maybe that's where my mother went to take care of her other children, and that she had maybe trouble with directions like me and couldn't find her way back, and I asked Devin about it, and he said that that was crazy, and I shouldn't blame Mom for having cancer and dying. She didn't want to die, and I said that Scout and Jem should be nicer to their mom because she's probably dying of cancer and one day will not be able to come back and fix them breakfast. And he said, "She's a maid," but she still seemed like a mom to me. The dad has funny glasses and is always dressed up and doesn't even get mad when people spit in his face. I wish Dad wouldn't shout when I throw things at him. And he shot a dog. Jem and Scout's dad, I mean. But Devin said it was a sick dog who would attack them and make them all die. And I guess sometimes it's good to shoot things, but not Devin. Devin was not going to attack anyone or make them die. Devin is like Jem, a lot like Jem. He even looks like Jem, except Devin's nose got broken playing baseball, and I don't know what color Jem's hair or eyes are actually because the movie is in black and white, which means mostly gray. And Devin's hair is brown, and people say his eyes are big and beautiful and brown, but there's really a lot of black and white in his eyes, and I like all things in black and white. Black and white is easier to understand. There's some metaphor there. All that color is too confusing. I look a lot like Scout. I look even more like Scout when I was 7, and Devin cut my hair to look like hers, except Dad said, "Do not ever do that again." And I didn't mind the haircut. I would not like to wear a ham costume like Scout had to in the movie, however, but if I did, I know Devin would take care of me like Jem did, even if someone tried to stop him with a knife like the bad guy did in the movie. I wonder if Devin was trying to help someone like me when the bad guy with the bullet stopped him. The first time we watched To Kill a Mockingbird, I waited through the whole movie for the dad to shoot a mockingbird. He had already shot a dog, and he was a good shot. No one shot a bird for the whole entire movie, and at the end, I said it was the stupidest name for a movie ever, and Devin said that I didn't know what I was talking about. This year, he read it in English, and he said the title makes perfect sense because this is what it means. It's wrong to shoot someone who was innocent and was never gonna hurt you in the first place. I still didn't get it, but you told me the dog was sick and he was going to hurt him. And Devin said, "It's not about the dog, it's about the people. You shouldn't hurt innocent people, Scout. That's what that means." I guess the evil shooters didn't listen in English class because they did not get the meaning of the book at all. So something beautiful just happened. This beautiful book just integrated with another timeless piece of history, another book from history. And so I want you to just kind of rest in that a second and think through that a little bit, specifically if you have read or watched To Kill a Mockingbird, and start seeing those integrations as we continue to read this book together.